Okay, so this is the PowerPoint to document the changes made to AXT Chess for my project AXT Chess. Okay, so to begin with, I made a number of changes after the alpha test for Game 101. Now I'm going to show here what exactly the changes are in response to. So here is a quick little view. Here's the feedback on instructions for rules for the game. This is on skills. Here is gameplay, aesthetics, and the gameplay demo. Okay, so aesthetically, we'll need to polish up the game board. I've worked on that. I'm going to show you in just a minute here, or at least in another video. For gameplay, condition ever really be used? Is it redundant to have the two ways of winning? And it doesn't much defending was not in place at the end. Now, other than that, there's strategic decisions that can be made and skill use. There's also the fact that there's attacking and defending rules for each kind of piece. So there's that. So now let's go back to the PowerPoint. Now, major changes. I first off removed the special effects tech. After that, I removed the leveling up and or upgrading idea. And the last thing I also did for major changes was I removed the marking concept. So if that doesn't make sense, marking concept was that a piece, like a game piece of yours or your opponent's, could be marked of whatever, however you mark it, to indicate it has a special effect on it. Obviously, you can only have one special effect at a time on a piece. But to remove that made it a lot simpler for kids to enjoy through my playtesting and experimenting with the game and so on. Now, additions. We're adding teleport pads to the game board, and I also added in a battle zone. I thought of making it the black hole zone, but I think it's more self-explanatory to keep it called the battle zone. Underneath it says fighting allowed, as you can read it. This is literally in the battle zone that you are allowed to fight with your pieces against, your opponents and all that, and that's perfectly fine. Now here you obviously can't see it. I will show in another video what the fighting in the battle zone looks like, where it is, and kind of like why it's there. Now, really, I can answer why here, and I will with the game board. Now, the battle zone, I added this. Why, you ask? Well, I added the battle zone because I felt through experimenting with it and without it, it seemed to have a little bit more of a influence on strategy and like how you could kind of place your units and move them around the game board while still going after your opponent's goal, or hunting down their pieces, if you will, whichever strategy you really go for. Now, in short, the battle zone, adding strategy through this could be to avoid it altogether and stay within the safety zone, or neutral zone, whatever you want to call it, really. But the battle zone is special then because it's nested inside the safety zone, and it's in the dead center with a radius of 2 blocks, or 2 spaces, and it's the only space within the safety zone that you're allowed to fight in, which makes it a bottleneck technically. So part of your strategy could be to bottleneck into the battle zone and fight against all the opponent's pieces, and then be able to go rolling into their territory, still battling out. Or the other option for strategy would be to completely avoid the battle zone, and I thought that would be a really interesting way to add player decisions for the game. Now, the last thing here to note is the modifications to the rules, aka mechanics. Now, really, it's very simple. I just made a pre-game decision that you have to roll the die, a single 6-sided dice, and you just have to find the higher number. Whoever gets the higher number goes first. And I think that's a kind of a standard or a fairly common approach for doing pre-game, who goes first. So I went with that approach here, and I felt like that was simple enough. So I went with that. That's just to make it easier so people don't have to think or ask. They can just go, roll the die and be done with it. The other thing I modified for the rules here was that you roll the die at the beginning of your turn before alpha or up to the alpha testing. I had set up you move a piece, then you roll a die, which is a six-sided dice, but it's a modified six-sided dice with the numbers 1, 2, and 3 on it, and that determines how long a special effect will last. By removing all of that stuff, the dice now represents how many pieces you move. Now here it doesn't say that, but I'm saying it now. Rolling the die at the beginning of your turn is signifying how many pieces you move. You have up to 12 units on your side of the board, and at the beginning of the game, you roll the dice and you get, say, a 5. So then you can move 5 of your units, 5 of your 12 units. And you can never really move a unit twice in one turn. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you move one piece one time, then you move another piece, and then you move another, and then you move another. There is no combining. So that's that for what I changed to the rules, to overall strategic options, and also what I did for like removing of ideas and other things. So I'll show in another video on the visuals, how things look, the final game board design for the most part, and yeah, I'll go from there. So see you in the next video. Comment down below what you think of this.